We could hear you in asking the question. Could we decipher it? Ask a more complicated question. No.
No.
Really? Do you want to? Oh, it sounded like, oh. All right. So Cantor, do you want to shift? Do you want to take?
Oh no. No, I'm not giving this up. It'll give me more of an excuse to fumble with things. Yeah. I'm good. All right. So actually, we could turn to page 635. However, before you do, we're just going to be singing Shabbat Shalom. Those are the words of what we're going to sing. So if you feel that you can retain those, if you're younger than I am, then let's just do it. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. One more time. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. I like Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
So beautiful. I love the way you welcome us into this sanctuary, into Shabbat. And in this time, I invite us on this Shabbat to really reflect on transitions, on the way in which we take a space that before we entered it was an ordinary space in some ways, and we transform it into something holy by our presence, by our singing, by welcoming in Shabbat in a very intentional way. And you'll notice in the service these different moments of transition where we're going to a very individual place and other times really praying for community. We're always facing toward the east, but more than that, we're always facing toward ourselves and our community to see how we might transform ourselves through these moments. And I'll also say that as a people, we are about to have a huge transition in the lives of the Jewish people, and that is by marking Tisha B'Av, where we commemorate the destruction of the first and the second temple in Jerusalem, and all kinds of tragedies that befell us on that date. But as we do so, we realize that as those tragedies happened, we transformed ourselves into the Jews that we are today. That's really where we began having what is now our type of Judaism that we pray in. And then also on this Shabbat, we are starting a new book in our Torah, and it's called Devarim. It's called words or things, but really what it is that it's Moses' last way of saying to all of us, focus inward, take in these beautiful ways of seeing the best of ourselves as a Jewish people, and take them into any place we enter and make it a land of promise. And so this is then what we're doing as we welcome in Shabbat. We're making sure that we mark these moments, these liminal moments, and make sure that we find meaning in them. Cantor, you're looking at me so meaningfully, it almost let me know that there's something you want to share.
I love this rabbi. That's what I want to share. That's what I'm feeling. That is the big thing that I'm feeling, I have to say.
I just love you, Cancer. So I'll say that as we enter into this liminal time and make it holy, we do so by lighting candles. And I want to recognize Ethan and Hannah. And so if you would come to the Bima here, we actually have this so that we can hear you if you choose to lead us in the blessing. To be able to kindle the lights of Shabbat, the words are found on page 120. Ethan and Hannah have gone through some beautiful transformations too, and I love that not you are musicians, you have chosen the Jewish faith, you're about to get married. I mean, there's just so much, and so you help us to enter these moments with incredible promise. And as we turn to page 123, we mark this time by saying blessings over the fruit of the vine. Again, on page 123, we invite Joe Morris to lead us in our Kiddush, and we rise in spirit.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
It gets better. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, Shabbat kadsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'charta, yotanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kadshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Harry Burke.
L'chaim. And I'll invite everyone except for one person to be seated, and that is, if you were standing, and that is Mac Whipson. If you would, please come to the bima. So for those of you who do not know, Max Whipson has been on a beautiful journey for many years, finding his way into Judaism. And I'll say this to you, Max, it is such a joy and a privilege in this moment to be able to invite you up to the Aron Kodesh, to the Holy Ark, to hold a Torah and to declare your being able to enter your community with love as you declare the Shema with the rest of our community, and then we bestow your Hebrew name upon you. And so we rise for this moment that in it holds great promise. Please rise. Max, the name that you've chosen for yourself is Yosef or Joseph. And in this way, then, you are saying that you want to be added to the Jewish people. For Joseph's name is from the word asaf, which means to add or to join to. Beyond that, you also see that all these steps along the way, and the way that Joseph had a very meandering way of coming into his fullest self, and realize that there was blessing all along that way, that's how you've come to the Jewish faith. It's a way of affirming what's been inside you all along. And so I'll invite you to hold this Torah as we sing with you the words of Shema. Shema,
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
And in this moment, the cantor and I will have the great joy of blessing you with the threefold benediction. So if you come just right down here, right here is perfect. And we'll invite the entire congregation to put your arms up as though you are blessing Max, because you are, with the threefold benediction.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God continue to bless you and protect you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's presence continue to shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May you feel yourself lifted by a divine presence, and may that bring you peace. And to that we all say, Amen. Don't get too ready to say all of your mazel tovs yet, because there's someone who's going to be joining us on the bima, Meg Dixon, who has the great joy soon of a wedding Max. And so in this way, then, we are grateful to be able to bless you in these moments. It's a shame that in these times we're not yet throwing the candy, but you'll have to imagine yourselves all throwing candy at this beautiful couple. Oh. So I want to say to the two of you, here's the beauty that you bring into this world. You are having this ufruf, this time of blessing, and the time of Devarim, and the time of Deuteronomy. You're going to get married as we're still reading from the chapters of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy is a book that is best known for one word, and that is Shema, of this ability to truly listen. You, the two of you, have been able to listen to your hearts and listen to each other and realize that great blessing resides there. Great promise resides there. And you so easily love each other, but more than that, you so easily and sometimes critically affirm each other and the best of yourselves. And that is a true, true blessing. And so we want to mark this time in ways of being able to shower the two of you with blessings. And so we're going to sing to you Mazel Tov. Here we go.
Siman tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov v'siman tov, siman tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov v'siman tov, siman tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov v'siman tov. Yehi lanu, yehi lanu, yehi lanu. לכל ישראל, יהי לנו ולכל ישראל.
Mazel tov.
Mazel
Oh,
tov.
love you. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. And so, just as we have this way of celebrating a marriage that is going to happen very soon, later in July, we now celebrate this way in which the Jewish people are wedded to the divine. And we celebrate that through Shabbat. And with one song, we affirm those beautiful words of Lecha Dodi. We invite you now to have a seat if you're standing. Yet, we're going to sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And on that 9th and final verse, we'll ask you to rise again in spirit as we welcome in the Sabbath bride.
שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. יא לה 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 לך דודי, לה 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 לקראת כלה, לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מכל הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לי 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 לה 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 לך דודי, לה 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 לקראת כלה, לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, קומי אורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לי 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 לה 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 לך דודי, לה 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 לקראת כלה, לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לי 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 לה 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 לך דודי, לה 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 לקראת כלה, לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה.
We continue now On page 142, inviting the angels of peace, the messengers of peace, to come and bless us all with Shabbat peace. Have a seat.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem. Am I singing the wrong one? Well, let's do the one that you want to do, Minkyu. Give me a little more of it. Yes, that's actually what I wanted to do. Just give me the beginning of the tune a little. That's it. Remember that one? Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Asharet, Malachi Elyon, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachi HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachi HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachi HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzidchem L'Shalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachi HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We'd follow you anywhere.
Well, you know what? But Minkyu was doing what I said I was going to do, and I didn't do that. So,
but now you did.
Thank goodness for Minkyu. Oh.
We turn now to page 146 and rise for the Baruch Hu.
Lai, 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 Lie, 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 lie. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, page 148. Asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, u'bitvuna meshana itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'msader et hakochavim b'moshroteihem b'arachia kirtzono, Boreyom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or. Ma'avir yom u'mevi layla. Ma'avdil ben yom u'ben layla Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. And just as we see that we go from day to night, these kinds of transitions, we also realize that in any evening, in any moment, we are guided by Torah. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Page 152, we sing together the words of Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני Adonai Elohechem.
Amet. The poet asks, Mi chamocha, who is like you? Who is like you who created heaven and earth, from the Big Bang to the smallest subatomic particle? Who is like you who sets the planets in motion and brought light to their moons? Who is like you who painted the sky blue and gave us the means to appreciate it? Who is like you who rustled up the air we breathe? Who is like you making yourself present in our deepest conversations, giving us people to love and love us? Who is like you, whom we seek from birth to death, from whom we take life, to whom we give our lives? Mi chamocha, who is like you? We sing these words, page 158.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף פלא, אוסף פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני מרים. זה לי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך ימלוך לעולם ועד. יאללה לי 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 לי, יאללה לי לי לי, יאללה לי 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 לי, יאללה לי לי לי, יאללה לי 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 לי, יאללה לי לי לי, לי לי לי, יאללה לי לי לי.
We pray that there be quiet moments for us to enjoy being sheltered in a sukkah, in a shelter of peace. Page 160, Hashkivin.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Ushmor tzitenu uvoenu lechaim u'shalom me'ata v'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim.
We turn now to page 164 as we rise for our tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. La 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Hanora, El Elyon, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר, מושיע ומגן, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor leolam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah, Rav lehoshia, Morid hatal. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech nofim berofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishnei afar. Mi chamocha ba'al gevorot ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
An invitation to silent prayer with words based on a poem by Ruth Bryn. God, help us now to make this Shabbat new. After noise, we seek quiet. After interacting with indifferent strangers, we seek community with those we love. After concentration on work and responsibility, we seek freedom to meditate, to listen to our inward selves. We open our eyes to the hidden beauties and the infinite possibilities in the world you are creating. We break open the gates of the reservoirs of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others. We reach toward these perfect, holy moments of Shabbat and this time of silent prayer. We continue now silently, and when you're finished with your personal prayer, please be seated.
יהיו לרצון אמרפי והגיון ליבי לפניך. יהיו לרצון אמרפי והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו
We turn now to page 371 as we think about those who are in need of healing. And I find that in this week's Torah portion, the way that Moses begins his speech to the Israelites as they're on the edge of the promised land, it's interesting that he starts off his big speech by talking about how hard things have been on their way to this point. And then he reiterates some ways in which they can continue. And that's through a loving community. And so I feel like we have this in this way of saying, life is hard and there is suffering and illness. And there's no way to get through life without it. Don't we wish it was possible? And yet there is a healing that can occur. Not a cure always, but sometimes just the comfort of knowing that there are people who care, people who check in, and ways in which we can bring that healing of love and companionship to make sure that even in life's more difficult moments, we can find healing. And so for those of you who are joining us from home, we invite you to be able to hit that link and be able to add any names that you would like to for Misha Berach. I know that those of you who are here in the sanctuary had an opportunity to do that as you came in today. And so I'll share these names, the names of people for whose healing we pray in these moments. Anna Kaplan, S.F. Schifrin, Juliana Schaefer, Sarah Golub and Cindy, Louise Chapman, Mary Briggs, Max Cohn and Norman Reed, Marion Kramer, Barb Beef, Jonathan Spitz, Elaine Baddock, Javier Escalante, Cheryl Tanita, Dee Cohn, Abner Drucker, Bob Reisman, and Juliana Sanchez Schaefer is prayed for again and again and again. Terry Spencer and Jim Clemens, Holly Clemens, Don Sable, Pam Zolnay, Nina Silverstein, Barbara Sussman and David Sussman, Sharon Schwartz and Richard Marco, Flo Bernberg and Mary Ellen Francis, Joan Stockhoff, David Newman, Susan Rothbart, Martin Rich, Arnold Hoffman, Carrie and Michael Bade, Chuck Abrams, Ruth Oppler, Ralph Oppler, Sherry Silver, Cherry Silver, Gail Rothner, Howard Nagelberg, Lori Barish, Dennis Tossi, Bruce Trannon, Frima Blumenthal, Sarah Griffith, Ari Wolkenfeld, Carol Devine, and Ahuva Shena Batvatya. Holding them in our hearts, we sing these words.
Misha Berach אבותינו, מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
And now we have the real honor and fun of being able to bless those whose birthdays come in the month of July. So stand up in your spot if you have a July birthday. And let's, I know, Bonnie, you were not so quick to stand up there. I thought you maybe were going to stay anonymous. I'm glad you're not. And so if you would, starting over with Liz, will you shout out the date of your birthday? Not the full date with the year, just your birthday day. Ooh, it's coming up, July 19th. Oh, was it great? I love that. Ooh. That's tomorrow. Wow.
You
Gotta
knew
do
that.
some quick shopping.
You-
Oh, and the 27th. And so we are grateful that here we are, all of us together, being able to celebrate birthdays. By the way, Rabbi Gelman, if you see some people who have identified themselves as having birthdays in this month of July, will you please unmute yourself and ask them to unmute themselves so they can tell us when they're celebrating their birthday.
And while they're doing that, I'm sure that somewhere in the ether, my son Ezra is saying July 8th.
Oh, I love that. I am sure he is.
He better be.
All right. Well, Rabbi Gelman is uncharacteristically quiet. So I know that he is, like the two of us up here, wishing everyone not only a wonderful birthday, but a wonderful year of coming into a beautiful time of promise and soul adventures and laughter and love and being reunited with good friends, old and new, and being able to have a good, special year of life. And to that, we'll sing the Shehechianu.
Sure. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman Amen.
Oh, Villages.
Oh,
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. And happy birthday, everyone who has a July birthday. And so I think it's such an interesting time. You know, I was thinking about this, Max, and also as we're celebrating birthdays and the way in which our people, the Jewish people, we somehow never turn away from things that are hard. And in fact, a lot of times Things that most people would try to turn aside from, we turn toward. And so the question that I want us to ask ourselves is why? Why is it that we have a holiday that's coming up tomorrow evening that commemorates the biggest tragedies of our people, the greatest tragedies? In fact, when you look, and there's a whole book in the Hebrew Bible that's dedicated to saying just how hard it was. And we call it Lamentations, but in Hebrew, it's much simpler. It's just called Echa. And in some ways, it means how, but also just in the way that it sounds, it's just like agony lived. And in fact, we hear about the destruction of the first temple all through Lamentations. But in the second temple's destruction, we commemorate all through the Talmud, many, many different portions. And there's also a midrash on Lamentations that talks about the destruction of the second temple. Such a difficult thing. Who wants to remember it? Why do we commemorate it? And in this midrash, it says that there was a case with one woman in the neighborhood of Rabban Gamliel, whose small child had died, and she was weeping by night on account of that child. And Rabban Gamliel would hear her voice and remember the destruction of the temple, and he would weep with her until his eyelashes fell out. Personal pain, communal pain. We experience together all of these things, and we don't look away. In fact, we look more at it. It is so sad and difficult. You'd think we'd want a distance from it, but we don't. We look at it head on. Why? And there's another time in our life. Now, it's more personal. It's not quite as communally horrifying, but for some of us who had a really tough time, say in those years of 12, 13, 14-year-olds, you don't have to put your hands up for how, if anybody had a really hard time then, but I'll just say it is not usually the moments where we want to have ourselves on display. Usually, if many of us have our voices cracking and our mouths shimmering with braces, it's not always the easiest time with our peers, and it's not, frankly, the easiest time with ourselves. And in fact, it is so cringeworthy often. Sorry if there are those of you who are joining us who are 12, 13, 14 and going through this right now. But the thing about our tradition is that we actually look more closely at it, and we say, in that time when you feel most awkward, is the time where we're going to have the biggest moment of everybody looking at you as you lead us in a service and as you take pictures with your family that stay in photo albums forever. You wouldn't think we would do this, but we do. We look at the most difficult things straight on. Why? And on a personal level, in the most difficult times in our lives, when we lose someone, when somebody dies whom we love, these times where you would want to just keep yourselves busy and say, you know what, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on something else. Judaism says, no, no, no. You're actually going to sit Shiva for 7 days. And for 30 days after that, you don't have to go anywhere. You could actually stay at home and just occasionally have people come in to be able to do a minyan with you, or on Shabbat you might come for a service, but you don't have to enjoy it. And we say, and not only that, but sometime in that year, you're going to come back to the cemetery and you're going to dedicate a stone and remind yourself of that most difficult time. Why? Why do we do this? We always make sure that we look at life, we look at those difficult things, and we say, there's something here. We can't avoid it. There's suffering in life. We can't skip over it. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could? What do we say? We don't just say deal with it. we say, let us create a ritual around it so you can realize that you don't walk through this alone. And I think that is a beautiful teaching. I think that it's not only soul satisfying, I think sometimes it's life saving. So here we are in this time where we're starting to peek out in our lives and we're realizing, wow, we just went through something really tough, all of us together. We all experienced it in very different ways, but this was a tough year. And if only it was a tough year, it's been a tough time, a long time. But here we are as a community, and we're saying we can ritualize even this. We have a Torah portion, a way in which we mark time every Shabbat to say, there's something in our tradition that we can ritualize in this moment that can bring us meaning and might bring us a bit of peace. I love that in our Torah portion this week, that as Moses opens up his big oration, what does he say? He says it's time to actually move from this place. What is he talking about? Well, in the Torah portion, he's repeating when God said to them that they needed to leave Mount Sinai. But I think what it's saying to all of us, it's time to walk forward. But we can only walk forward if we remember what was. If we make sure that we say, yeah, okay, we went through that. And you know what? Going forward is not going to be easy. And there's going to be difficult things that we're going to face. But we're going to do it as a community. Life is hard, and that's why we have rituals. To say we're not alone, and to help us have vision to see what could yet be. This Shabbat is called Shabbat Chazon, which means vision. It doesn't mean seeing, and it doesn't mean having Pollyannish lenses on. We don't need to have rose-colored glasses. That is not very Jewish. But what we do say is that vision takes experience, looking back, in order to see forward. That's what I invite us to do on this Shabbat. In this next time of being able to Saturday evening commemorate Tisha B'Av and the tragedies that befell our people, and to be inspired with the vision to know we walk forward from here together. We do that as a community, and we do that with love. And with that, I say Shabbat Shalom. So I know we have some announcements, and you know what, Rabbi Gilman, I'm going to invite you to unmute yourself and share with us some announcements that are for the things that are to come, and maybe you'll even share a little bit about Tisha B'Av and what our movement is doing internationally.
Absolutely. And everyone in the sanctuary can hear me? Great. I didn't see like a, oh, no, we can't hear you. So I'm assuming that's a yes. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is so good to see everyone, also especially my friends here on Zoom. One of our a couple of exciting things coming up in this next week. It's Our Turn, IoT. Is having a gathering. So join IoT in the park to connect with both friends, old and new, enjoying a summer evening. We invite you to bring your chair and blankets and food and drinks. We're going to provide snacks and treats for you all. So we're looking forward to that. When you register at the upcoming events page, you will get information about exactly where it is, but I believe it's on the lake. And then keep looking out for a number of exciting announcements about open house celebrations for so many of our community groups. This is the IoT open house, but Or Chadash and Makom, Women of Temple Sholom and Brotherhood, and others are all having open houses coming up in this next month as we get ready for the high holidays. And on the other note of going from happiness to difficulty, this evening or next evening, when we say goodbye to Shabbat, we are going to start to be memorializing the day of Tisha B'Av, which is known as the day of the destruction of the synagogues, of the temples in Jerusalem. So this is known as a fast day, known as a day of mourning. And there are a number of ways that you can engage with this from the Union for Reform Judaism, or urj.org. And as well, if you'd like to memorialize the moment with me, I will be speaking at a memorial for John Lewis that is happening downtown tomorrow evening, and also memorializing Tisha B'Av in those same moments of the things that we mourn that drive us to greater things. And so I want to wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you, Rabbi Gelman. We turn now to page 586, to the bottom of that page, for Aleinu, and we rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
As we turn to page 598, we can remain standing as we remember those who were such an inspiration to us. I know that for Moses, as he was giving this way of people being able to remember all the lessons, this repetition that he gives in Deuteronomy or Devarim to the people, what he's doing is he's making sure that they have all the lessons they need to learn, because this is a whole new generation. All those, save for Caleb and Joshua and Moses, had passed away on their journey. And so all the lessons that they learned needed to be repeated and passed on to this new generation. And so that's what we do in our service. We say the names of those we remember before Kaddish, and in so doing, we remember the values that they set forth in their lives and with their lives that continue to inspire us on our own journeys. And so on this Shabbat, we're remembering Fern Bergstein, Dan Greenberg, Marty Schumann and Julie Laser, Fred Bondi and Luann Gauker Goldstein, Lorraine Pergamont and Teddy Gordon, Harvey Kupfer and Elaine Kupfer, Ronald Burstein and Lige Fletter, Nick Stoller and Howard V. Hahn, Sandra Goincher, and Paulette Cannon, Michael Cooper. Of course, we're remembering those who perished in the Champlain Towers, including someone from the University of Chicago, a student there, Elon Nabrif. We also are remembering Max Lewis, who was also a student at the University of Chicago who lost his life. And we're remembering Morris Cohn and Ida Cohn and William Eatman, Phyllis Ellis and Miles Fleischman, Alvin Golub and Lois Krollgood, Theodora Gordon, Merle Horowitz, Sheila Kaplan and Joanne King, Janet Cohn, Stephanie Corin, Harry Kroll and Hannah Kroll, Oscar Levy, Isaiah Littman, Charlotte Marks, and Sydney Buddy Marks, Rose Mijos, Barry Miller, Sheila Landau Mitchell, Alexander Morris, Sylvia Ween Novak, David Gordon Roth, Helen Seiner, Harry Wallach, Debbie Weinstock, James A. Welsh, as well as remembering someone whose family is still in the period of Shloshim, for remembering Ruby Korn. Together, we turn to page 598 for Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'yimru Amen. Yehe shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ulalmei almaya. Yitparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran ve'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru. Amen.
We close tonight on page 648 as we sing a song, one of the Psalms from Kabbalat Shabbat, that lets us know that through our tradition and through our rituals, not only do we look at the past, but we create something new. Shir Chadash, a new song.
I think, are we doing this, Minkyu, or are we doing something else? Because I am very fickle. I change my mind every 20 seconds. Minkyu, what should we do? Ki Eshmera Shabbat. Let's try 634. So sorry, Rabbi.
I think this is very fun. Do you want to do a fun way of being able to, close us?
I'm always ready for fun.
I love it. I've noticed.
Especially synagogue fun. That's the best kind. All right, here we go. Ki Eshmera Shabbat. El yishmereini, ki yishmera Shabbat. El yishmereini, oti leolead, beino ubeini. Oti leolead, beino ubeini. Ki yishmera Shabbat, el yishmereini. Ki yishmera Shabbat, el yishmereini.
Well, I am sending Shabbat greetings from Cantor Ben David, who's in Maine, and from Rabbi Singer, who's in Colorado. They are sharing their Shabbat love with all of us. Rabbi Gelman, wonderful to be able to have you lead this service with us online. Thank you so much, Rabbi Gelman. Thank you to Stacy and Toby and Cornelius and Jeremy and Dave and Ethan and Hannah and Mink Yu and Cantor Katzman, and to you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.